Over the past 2 decades, Western governments, from Washington to Canberra, have used the lens of national security to view and frame the climate crisis.
Climate change is a national security issue.
Climate change is at the center of our domestic national security.
The impact of climate change on global security is now of absolutely paramount.
The assumption underlying this framing seems simple and obvious. Climate change will lead to increased instability, conflict and migration that requires military readiness.
This idea of the environment becoming part of national security came after the end of the Cold War, when suddenly there was the need to justify the budget of, huge intelligence services within those large bureaucracies, which suddenly were not faced with the threat of bipolar world. So there was the need to redefine what security meant. And so they brought in the agenda to say, well, the environment is also part of security. That led to an assumption from the perspective of America, the West, global North, that climate change in the rest of the world will impact resources, creating scarcity and as a source of conflict and unrest for the Western countries. Another narrative is to say this will create migration. And migration is potentially a source of unrest and conflict and instability for the prosperous nations.
And that's the real problem with the national security threat framing, is that really it's turning those who are the victims of climate change, those most impacted in the poorest countries, into now the new threats to the richest countries. You never see it, how do we guarantee the security of people forced to leave their homes because of floods or increased temperatures? It's how can we secure ourselves against these migrants? And that to me is at the heart of why I think we need to really challenge this idea of climate security and always ask the question, whose security are we talking about?